All right, so we've gathered together to honor Troy Guerin. We are presenting him with the OCPC Lifetime Achievement Award for his 26 years of service to OCPC as a delegate. So I'll read the award. It says, presented to Troy Guerin, celebrating leadership, service, and commitment to the Old Colony Planning Council from 1994 to 2020. With sincere gratitude and appreciation, the Old Colony Planning Council officers, delegates, and staff. So, Mary, I believe you're going to be presenting this to Troy. You're going to meet him, and
I am, and I will. He's such a great person, and was very touched at receiving this. So, if anybody has an interest in joining me, great, we'll do that. But I was trying to get it to him today in advance of this, but I don't know if there's any others that would just like to say a word or two while we're recording it. We'll send this recording to Troy. So, Madam President, do you want to start?
Sure. Troy, I've known you quite a long time from serving on the Board of Selectmen in neighboring communities. You've always been a really stand-up guy, looking out for the community, doing what's best for your town and the residents. So thank you so much for your leadership and dedication to the town of Halifax and Old Colony Planning Council.
Thank you, Christine. Dan Salvucci, only because I know that you need to run to the meeting yourself.
Right, I do, and I'm sorry, and I want to thank Troy for all his years of dedication and many more to come.
Thank you, Dan.
Now I need to leave.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Jean Marie.
Well, I want to thank Troy for all his years of dedication. I've known him and been on the board as long as he has, and he's been a joy to work with and always a gentleman.
Thank you, Jean Marie. John Costa.
I really haven't had a chance to get to know Troy in my short time on the commission, but anybody who can put in 20 years and deal with what you guys go through deserves whatever you give them. Those are the best.
That's the truth. Thank you, John. Valerie.
Morning in progress.
Valerie, did you want to say anything to Troy?
Oh, I just think it's great that you've been able to be a part of this organization for as long as you have. And I admire anyone who's able to volunteer and show up and be there for things that go on for public service. It's fantastic, and it's an honor to know you and to work with you.
Thank you, Valerie. And I think Doug, because Fred left the room, but Doug, did you want to say a couple words just about Troy?
Yeah, although I didn't really have the opportunity to work with him much, that's a great milestone, and it just shows you the dedication and commitment that he has. So congratulations. And as somebody said earlier, hopefully many more, right?
Thank you, Doug. And just Charlie or Bill or Ray or David, if any, just a quick
Sure.
comment. So thank you, Charlie.
Sure. Thanks, Mary. Troy, congratulations on your milestone of a Lifetime Achievement Award, and thank you for your commitment to the Old Colony Planning Council. And it's been a true pleasure to work with you, whether it's a project in Halifax or something in other parts of the region. Your care and commitment is unwavering, and you have a sense of humor. And one of the fond memories is I ran into you in the Lowe's parking lot in Kingston, and we shared some time comparing notes on house projects. So it wasn't just about planning; it was about other things in life. And you're a true gentleman, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Charlie. And for the other staff, just because we're running into OCPC time, but just a quick, Ray, would you please?
Sure. I want to thank Troy for making me always feel welcome whenever I went to Halifax. When I didn't work on a lot of projects, but when I did, he always made me feel welcome, and things went really easy, and it was wonderful going out to Halifax. I look forward to it because of Troy. So I want to thank him for what he's done for Old Colony Planning Council. It was a pleasure working with him.
Thank you, Ray. Any last others before we move on?
I just congratulations, Troy, on your milestone. As a lifelong resident of Plymouth County, I can speak to that. I know not only do you represent Halifax in excellent form, but just that the interest of the entire county as a whole. And just thank you for your service. And it's been a pleasure. And looking forward to more more years.
Awesome. So with that, Madam President, you know, and we'll get this presented as soon as possible, and we'll get another photo op with him. And but thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for your kind words. Troy truly is a gentleman, and will appreciate all of your comments. So thank you very much.
So Troy Guerin is on the phone right now.
Oh, hi, Troy.
Troy
So you heard it
Guerin,
all, yeah?
are you there? So we just presented you with the award in a recording on video. So I don't. Okay, so we will send this recording to you, and we just want to say appreciate, and we know you have to get onto the Plymouth County Advisory Board, but thank you again for all your service. Okay, Troy, thank you.
Thanks, Troy.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so now being shortly after 7, I'll call the June 30th meeting, the annual meeting of the Old Colony Planning Council to order. First item on the agenda is the accessibility statement. So this is the accessibility statement and Title VI non-discrimination statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 extension 202. The notice of non-discrimination rights and protections to beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 extension 202 for more information. All right, so Mary, can I turn things over to you for the roll call?
Yes, please. Abington, Stephen Santusonio.
Delegate present.
For Avon, Frank Staffier is out, but John Costa? I know you're there. Okay. We're
Trying to
good.
say muted. Present.
Thank you, John. Bridgewater, Sandra Wright. I think you're still on, Sandy, right?
Yeah, her phone's still on there.
In Brockton, Sydney Marrow.
Present.
Duxbury, Valerie Massard.
Present.
East Bridgewater, Peter Spagone is unavailable. Jean Marie.
Present.
Thank you.
Bridgewater.
There is somebody who has something on. Oh, we're hearing. I think that's Sandy's phone. So we have Paul Basner has a death in the family. Rebecca is not available. Plymouth, Lee's not available. Christine Joy Plimpton.
Present.
Stoughton Douglas Silvestri.
Delegate.
West Bridgewater Eldon is not available. Whitman Fred Gilmetti. And he is in the building.
He is here in the
So-
conference room.
So Madam President, that is a quorum has been
Delegate is
ascertained.
here.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fred. All right. At the last meeting, we had talked about doing a consent agenda. We really needed to take a vote before we were able to do that. So at some point tonight, we'll find the language and do that so that we can do a consent agenda for our next meeting. But as a result, we're going to be going through everything individually. So the next item on the agenda is the minutes of April 28th, 2021. So
And
do we have any questions or comments on the minutes?
Fine.
Okay.
I have a couple when you get to me.
Okay, go ahead, John. Questions?
Okay. First page, where it starts, Doug Silvestri, treasurer. There's the word "to" should come out on that first sentence.
on the first page,
I believe it's the first. Maybe it's the second page. Because
you're talking about the financial report?
It says Doug Silvestri, treasurer, made a motion of the finance committee, and it says to create. That "to" should come out of there. All right, Mary.
I will find it, and I can't find it on here right now.
Okay.
Okay. So
Next thing is the line on the Plymouth Open Space and Recreation. I wasn't at the meeting, so but I find that first sentence I don't understand what it's supposed to mean. I don't know if it's missing some words or it's written incorrectly, but That's, so can I point it out? I can. No, I can't.
Yeah, I'd agree with him on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
The last thing I have is just a question for point of order, because again, this is still somewhat new to me, even though I've been doing this for about a year. Under all the expenditures, you list the dollar amount, then you repeat it written out. Is there a reason for that?
Brenda, do you want to handle that?
Can you repeat that, please?
When we list the expenditures by category here, you list the dollar amount, and then it's written out in longhand. Is there any particular reason why we do that?
That's my cheat sheet, which I read from, and that's not supposed to actually be there like that. I apologize.
Okay.
Well,
I was
it's
just-
so John, just for purposes, it's me who do the minutes, and usually when I'm doing it, I go through the video, the recording, and in order for me to not be typing it out every time, I use Brenda's cheat sheet because it helps me cut and paste exactly what she reads. So rather than me having to retype and listen, I take it, and quite honestly, I'm going to do the same thing. So I will take out the words after. If there's a preference that you have, John, well.
No, I just thought it was a lot of extra keystrokes and a lot of extra reading for everybody, and made the minutes longer. That was just a question.
You know what, John,
Whatever your
I
preference is,
just,
fine.
I write that out just for me because I can get a little tongue-tied saying those big numbers. So I just do that for myself.
Okay.
So Brenda, here's what I'm gonna have you do, because otherwise it's, again, you're gonna write it already. Then just when you send it to me, send it without those extra words for the council member from delegate. Who's if someone, I think that's Fred with his phone. Okay.
I'm not asking you to change it. I'm just making a suggestion. That's all.
Okay.
No, why don't you remove it? I think it's cleaner to have it gone too, John. So
Yeah, I didn't even
Right.
realize that was written on there like that. I wasn't even paying any attention.
no, that's a good catch.
That's
right.
all I got.
Okay, anybody else have any questions or concerns about the minutes?
Yeah, we get those calls.
All right, do we have a motion to accept the minutes with the amendments as recommended by John Costa?
I'll second that.
Okay, how about the original motion?
I'll motion.
Oh, I'll make a motion.
Okay, Jean Marie made the motion, and Sandra, you want a second?
I'll second it, yes.
Okay, Sandra second. Okay, so we have a motion and a second to accept the minutes as amended. So Mary, can you do a roll call vote?
I can. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Same.
Bridgewater,
Yes,
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Kingston, not here. Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
We're getting camera, so I apologize.
Stoughton,
Accept.
thank you. And Whitman.
Accept.
Excellent. Okay, so now let's move on to the financial report for April. Brenda?
Sorry.
Yeah, did you want to take the lead on that?
Yes, financial reports for May.
Yes,
Okay.
give me 1 second so I can bring it up.
For its success is the result of the fact that we work well together. We work
I
closely together.
think Sandy, that might be you. We're hearing some feedback from your phone. Just to, so maybe we can just like talk over it. Go ahead, Brenda.
Okay. Statement of expenditures report shows total expenses for the month at $177,675.74. Moving on to the cash position report, showing income for the month at $144,602.40. Disbursements for the month were $339,312.78. Total cash available at month's end was $1,348,896.06. Our OPEB account had a gain of $16,091.13, bringing the ending balance in the OPEB account to $873,391.11. Moving on to the budget resources report. The total receipts for the month being $144,602.40 brings the total cumulative receipts for this fiscal year to $3,135,114.66. Moving on to the AAA report. Pass-through total cumulative billing total for FY22 is at $631,316. The remaining fund balances at this time are a total of $1,899,057. The Ombudsman and Admin Fund shows cumulative billings total at $44,209, bringing the remaining balances in Admin and Ombudsman to a total of, not the number that you see here, the correct number is $363,589. Moving on to the ROM May 2021 statement. The balance at the beginning of May was $177,531.92. May receipts were $5,850, bringing the total ROM FY21 receipts to $64,350. May expenses were $4,727.57, bringing the total ROM expenses for FY21 to $71,173.42. The ending balance in the ROM bank account in May was $178,148.59. Moving on to the budget report. The total expenditures through the end of May were a total of $1,636,888. Our percentage spent to date is at 79.95%. The ideal percentage in the 11th month of the fiscal year would be 91.63%. So we continue to be in good shape with a surplus balance. And that's the end of the financial report.
All right. Any questions for Brenda? All right, Doug, did you have anything you wanted to say about our review yesterday of the finance meeting?
Well, I'm sure people will probably have more questions when they start looking at the proposed budget, which is going to be later on. But no, there wasn't really anything that spoke out. I mean, it was a pretty good statement.
Great. Thank you, Doug, very much. Okay, so seeing the no hands for questions or concerns, do we have, does someone want to make a motion to accept the financial report for April 2021?
I'll motion to accept.
Okay, motion Stephen
Second.
and second Jean Marie. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Can we do roll call vote, Mary?
Yes, Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
and Whitman.
Accept.
Great, thank you. All right, so Mary, on to staff report.
Yes, and I am pleased to, if I can get this thing going here. I am, sorry, let me stop sharing because it's going to drive me crazy. I am pleased to be going over the staff reports. I have it broken down into two. So let me just share my screen one more time. And, when I'm, this year we have two things going on. And I've sent this along to everybody. It's a combined staff report. Everybody on a monthly basis provides updates from AAA. It changes. It's not in the same position every month, but from AAA to community planning and economic development. I just wanted to give a shout out to Lori, who's on this. She's, her reports are 600 page reports, and she just got a wonderful comment back from the town of Whitman in terms of their MVP reports. But, green communities, the reports have been all due, and Elijah and Joanne have been working and feverishly and getting them in on deadlines. Dottie continues to be incredibly resilient and working and resourceful to the various communities and on economic development and the economic recovery, staying on top of things, staying on top of grants. So if you're not getting her grant information, and if you're interested, please reach out directly to Dottie. And all the breakdowns of what we're doing in each of the communities. the septic program, it gets updated. And then GIS, we're really taking the GIS and really kind of blossoming that opportunity for our communities. And once again, the transportation department continually to move forward. Guo Chang Lee has joined us, and this has been like the first month that he's really been just a wonderful asset to the transportation department. Just one point I want to go up to the AAA is that, as Lila put in here, it's breaking news. So Lila and I conducted interviews, and we'll be hiring with state funding a regional assisted living specialist. She'll be starting on July 12th. She's multilingual, and she lives in Brockton and going to be a wonderful asset to the AAA department. I did not want to go back. I did want to go back to transportation because you'll be hearing from Ray Garino on the public participation plan. But the active transportation studies, for those that have not sat in on a road safety audit, I highly recommend that you do. It just isn't amazing what the staff does to work with the local communities, of local public safety officials to deal with the different traffic items. From Avon to Plimpton to Stoughton to Whitman. I think we've touched upon every community that's around. And again, as you will see, all the different, the joint transportation meeting, the MPO meeting, we work on, there's a monthly meeting with BAT and OCPC, so we're continuing to stay connected with each other. And so all of that information is in that staff report that I had provided. The other thing that we are doing that has not been done in some time is, if I can do this, is we have a draft of an annual report. So one of the things when I came in that, I saw all these reports over the last multi-years, I could not be able to find like a formalized annual report. And particularly this year under the guise of the council, we really wanted to kind of sing our praises in some ways, but I think just talking about the accomplishments. So in this draft report, it still needs to be worked on in some things, but these are all pictures either taken by Lori or by staff, myself. And this is a letter from the president to myself, but what it means to pivot, and we really, as a team with council members and our partners and our communities, but our staff really kind of found a way how to continue to be successful. We just gave Troy Guerin acknowledged, but in our report we acknowledge him as well. And again, we have members and our staff and past staff and mapping of who we are, and our missions back in here, and our intended impact. So when we're talking, when people say, so what do you do? Like, we do a lot, and specifically broken down into all the different categories of projects and items that we work on. So one of the things we really wanted to focus on were our top 15. I think we probably could have gone to 30 achievements, but wanted to kind of stick to being as simple and yet comprehensive at the same time. So, the first off, it's going to be tomorrow, 1 year anniversary for Dottie Fuginetti as the Economic Recovery Planner. That was a $400,000 grant, CARES grant. The team, Charlie and Brenda and Lori, myself, really kind of worked on that application, and could not have been a better choice of having Dottie Fuginetti in that position. The EDA triple funding. I'm not even seeing, this is where we have to, some of the things, but there's CARES, it's actually CARES funding that had come through, completion of a strategic plan and a mission statement and vision. There was not one prior. Again, very respectful of the past, but we really needed to make sure that people knew and continue to know what we're doing. The new branding and the logo and the newsletter, and we have a new website that's coming, and we held an office retreat that more than half of the staff never attended a retreat. Updated bylaws of OCPC and the evaluation policies, and you'll hear a little bit about the personnel policies, the equity task force and what's being done by the team, and making sure we're cognizant of our diverse population, our community. The COVID protocols, I could not have even blinked without having Bill McNulty take on this project since he's had a volunteer firefighter's position before, and he knew some of these things that we need to pay attention to with Charlie's assistance on that. But then held the task force with council members to make sure that there's dialogue about what's going on in their communities and at OCPC. And the reimagining of GIS, the strategic plan that Andrew Vidal has been doing. I'm just really excited about that. EDA, acceptance of a 5-year comprehensive plan. That's huge in terms of they have confidence in the staff that we build, and that relationship with EDA has been incredible with Dottie and Joanne, Brenda in terms of fiscal responsibility. It's just been a tight team. The funding of 4 Old Colony transportation for the TIP projects, $27.9 million. Those are incredible. And as we all know, there's never enough dollars, but it was done with care and equality in terms of districts. So we're not keep going to the same communities. And so that through under Charlie's leadership has really been, it's always well respected within not only the state Mass DOT, but our federal partners and within the communities. You know, I'm really excited about the drone program and the licensing of 3. It's actually going to be 4 staffs because we've included Elijah they've got a guide, and they're going to be promoting it and having really reaching out to communities to find ways we can partner. An unprecedented EDA and municipal grant awards for the region totaling 13 million. I think that needs to be tightened up in there, you know, and the small business grant awards totaling 27 million. Again, you know, our role may not have been the recipient of some of these, but our role has been working with the communities to, really tighten up their MassWorks application, the one-stop priority, right, and getting those in. The staff had been utilized as advisors. So I'm not going to go through this. You'll be able to see it when we're ready, when it gets completed and tweaked and all our spell checks and those type of things. But, you know, it's consistent with our design, with our logo design, and really taking the time of really looking and how we're involved with our communities on all of the projects that we're supposed to be doing. And lastly is, you know, a highlight of our financials, the financial highlights. You know, Brenda already has some things that she wants to fine tune on this, but, you know, let people know where our funding's coming from, right? And also letting, you know, where it's going and how it's being utilized. So that's in a short, just a short snippet. Wanted to run through that. Stand by for the final product, but if anybody has interest in taking a closer look at that, please let me know and I'll share this final copy with you. And that's all.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, well done. And the intent of the report, Mary, what did you plan on doing with it when it was in its finished state?
So the idea is that we have this annual report ready for our annual meeting every year. So it talks about the successes, what we're doing, where our money's coming, where it's going, and that. So since we've been a little bit off because of COVID, you know, we really needed to have this be our annual meeting because we need to have an annual meeting in the springtime. So technically we're still sort of spring-ish. But, you know, once we're now in track and what we're going to be doing, and so we have a large timetable. The idea is that we continue to do this, and once we tweak it to a level, we'll be sharing it with all of you, putting it on our website, ask our communities to put it on their website. And then when we do our reports to our communities, we'll be in a much better way of really kind of talking about what the assessment dollars in each of the communities are being utilized for.
Great, thanks, Mary. And thank you everybody on the team for your hard work on all of the projects. I don't know if everyone knows that that Dottie was named the town of Easton Heroine, which was a very recent designation for her. So congratulations to Dottie. So it's our staff isn't just, working hard for us. They're also working hard in their own communities and making a difference there too. So thank you all for all your efforts. All right. So, and Lori, you did a beautiful job on the stained glass. It was gorgeous. All right. So on to the regional clearinghouse reviews. Are you taking those, Mary, or is that Charlie?
I am. Nope, I'll be taking them, and I'm just going to scroll right. They were part of your agenda, but these are just more again for informational purposes for those from Halifax, the Aldana Road land swap. And as you can see here, that the town is aware of the wetlands along the slope. And we send this out and we're in tune with the community. The second one is Lincoln Park, West Bridgewater. We are so familiar with this project. We did send a comment letter. Kyle Mowat on staff drafted a comment letter that was sent into the state. Our position in terms of it's an intersection that's being looked at for development, but it's also an intersection that has some traffic concerns. So we raised them with our delegate. Eldon Marrero was aware of it, and we worked with the town of West Bridgewater administrator in commenting as well. And then the certificates for the Jenny Pond dredging and project in Plymouth, and that is all for the environmental review and notifications.
Great, and no action needed, right?
No action is needed.
Beautiful. Okay, Stephen, on to number 7, personnel handbook.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Madam President and members of the council, as chair of the personnel committee, members of the committee, and I could not be prouder of the hard work that the council members, OCPC staff and our human resource consultant, Lisa O'Donnell, did to bring the OCPC employee handbook into compliance. I'd like to note that the last time the personnel policies were updated was in 1997. The current document has been reviewed by the law firm of Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, and Lehane, and any changes they had proposed have been incorporated. This was not a one meeting and done process, as the process itself started in September of 2020 and continued through our June 22nd Personnel Committee meeting, where the members unanimously approved the handbook. The Personnel Committee will work with the Executive Director to have the document be updated on a yearly basis, most likely right before the annual meeting set for this time in 2022. The next step is for Mary to hold a training session with the staff and have Lisa O'Donnell come in and review the entire handbook. Appendixes are not included in today's handbook, but will be before training. Right now, it's scheduled for July 13th in the morning. Madam President, after Mary has run through the personnel handbook, I respectfully make the motion to accept the Personnel Committee's favorable report and adopt the handbook.
Great. Thank you, Stephen, very much for all that information. All right, Mary, did you want to run through the handbook?
So I will do this very quickly because I did send it along on Monday. It was pretty intense, but first of all, it has gone from 15 pages to 56 pages. Let's say so 53. It is in compliance. We are in compliance. That in itself, I need to repeat again, we are in compliance. We value, I know the council does, I know myself as the executive director and Charlie as the assistant director, we value our employees tremendously. They are entitled to know what's entitled to them in a policy, in a handbook that is welcoming, that sets the environment. There's disclaimers, we continue to be at-will employees. I know that there's some executive directors that have long year or multi-year contracts, but we're an employee, we're employee at will. That keeps our feet to the fire in terms of we're here, we have a job to do. It's been that way for quite some time, and it's worked pretty well. So again, unless there's specific items, but we've included the paid family leave law. There is telecommuting because of where we just came through in terms of a pandemic. What we found from working in a pandemic, that the employees work, if not more productive, because it takes out their their commuting time, or they're able to handle some personal family things. And it is worked out and it's managed in a very comfortable way. We put some further definitions by what the federal law requires us to do in terms of what truly is a full-time regular, what is a part-time, what they're entitled to. I just noticed something there I got to get rid of, you know, and just in terms of again, we are all salaried employees except for our interns or, you know, or some maybe like entry level. It's defined in terms of their pay and whether they're on salary or not in their role. So everything really is been expanded upon with just a whole lot of things. And I don't know if just to touch upon things such as sexual harassments, the benefits, they're all done in a clearer and concise way. And again, just as Stephen had said, that we have had this run by Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, Lehane. They actually have done it several times, and both Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, Lehane, and Lisa O'Donnell, the HR consultant we hired to come in to take all of them together, is really feeling a very comfortable way. So I just wanted to highlight, so here's the paid family leave entitlements. It's broken down in terms of medical, family, you know, what they need, the amount of leave, the effective date it went in. So it's pretty clear and concise. And
I just want to say, Mary, this was a tremendous group effort. I remember when we first started this, you know, we had a long evening going through the entire document, and we just kind of pulled in people as we needed. You know, Lisa to Murphy, Hesse, Toomey, and Elaine, and we got this great living, breathing document that we're going to be able to build upon, you know, annually. And it's, you know, it's not set in stone. Maybe we're going to make updates as time goes on, but it's a great, tremendous effort.
Thank you, Stephen. It was a 3-hour meeting, if I remember that, a little over 3 hours.
It was.
Thank you, Mary and Stephen. All right, so we have a, Stephen is the chairman of the Personnel Committee, and he has recommended, the entire committee, and on their behalf is recommending that the council adopt the Personnel Handbook. Do we have a motion from someone on the council to adopt the Personnel Handbook?
This is Val. I'll make a motion.
Great. Motion, Val. Do we have a second?
Second. I'll second.
Okay, second was Sydney. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Mary, can you do a roll call vote?
I
This
can,
is to
and
accept the personnel.
I can, and I apologize. I thought I was sharing my screen while I was talking to you, but I will,
It's okay.
you have it. Thank you.
Yeah.
My apologies. Thank you, Charlie, for texting me. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater, Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
Whitman.
Accept.
That is unanimous, Madam President.
Great, thank you. And Stephen, thank you so much for leading the charge to make sure we got that done. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine.
All right, so now on to number 8, the future of OCPC council meetings. Mary, did you want to speak on this?
I just did. I put it just as a quick line item. The governor's, the legislature and the governor signed in terms of expanding the virtual meetings through April of 2022. And we're going to continue being this way. I think it's been effective. And I think the only item that will be an item for discussion is just maybe looking at our start time of 7 o'clock, but that will be at a separate item. So it was really just a statement. We'll continue doing both in the office for those that want to come into the office and the virtual.
Mary, do we need to take a vote on this? I know in our town we had to vote to adopt it for the town. Do we need to vote to adopt this as a council?
I don't know. I may look to, I don't know if Dottie has had conversations with MMA about this from your meetings, Dottie?
I would say it doesn't hurt to take a vote. So better to always err on the side of taking an extra vote.
Okay.
So, I think a motion may be in order, Madam President.
All right, so I'll make a motion. I don't have the actual MGL language, but Mary's got that, to extend the, well, it's actually not really extending. It's to allow us to continue in a virtual format with meeting in person as well. So this would be indefinitely. So I've made a motion that that we will continue to offer both virtual and in-person meeting attendance. Do we have a second?
Second
Second.
that.
Okay, second. So I heard Stephen and Mary, can you do a roll call vote?
I can. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Except,
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept?
Whitman.
Accept.
That's unanimous.
Excellent. All right, so we'll continue to offer both the virtual and in-person so that we're able to accommodate as many people. It's been really successful for us. We've had great attendance. So it was something that we felt was important for the council to continue with this, offering these formats. All right, so the next item is the FY22 proposed budget. Doug, do you want to take the lead on this? You and Brenda?
Yeah. Thank you, Madam President. So this budget was actually in the works for 3 or 4 Finance Committee meetings. It was put together by Brenda, who did a great job. What we ended up doing was looking at our current fiscal year, which isn't over yet. Numbers will be final at the end of the month, of June. And then comparing that with pre-COVID numbers for our fiscal 20 budget. And that's what kind of gave us our proposed number. As you'll see, looking at the categories, there were certain, the reason why we did a pre-COVID, I kind of asked to have a pre-COVID budget in there was just to get a general idea of what the numbers look like before COVID-19. So, I mean, as you can see, you see administrative expenses, which were, almost $22,000, which are not there in the proposed budget because they're no longer needed. So I don't know if that was, if you wanted to go line item by line item, or if everybody had an opportunity to look at the budget, but this is what we came up with.
And I think if I could, Madam President, so we did go line by line item. It is a budget that is within our means. It's for the things, some of the things that I would highlight, and some of the things are in this added column, that we've added legal expenses this year. Many of the council members said, well, let's go get an attorney to take a look at it. And let's go, staff are saying, well, we need an attorney to take a look at it. So we put in for legal and I think that's going to be helpful to us to have. So that's where we went from, the 27 to the 35. And it does protect for our ongoing processes. The only other thing I really would like to kind of point out is in terms of equipment purchases. So one of the things that COVID it certainly had proven to us is that when we did have to go remote, many of the staff utilized their own personal laptops, not work laptops. And in talking to Howard, that he made presentations in the past, that he has recommended that instead of replacing the 15+ year desktops that we have, not all of them are 15, but there's a good number between 11 and 15-year-old desktop, that we replace it with laptops. And I've checked with several IT consultants as well. 3 to 5 years is about the average that we'll look to rotate laptops out as we move forward. Since we had some wiggle room in this past fiscal year, we did purchase some laptops in this fiscal year, which ends today, but we also have it on the framework to purchase for next year. Our office is growing. We're 18, 19 staff now. And so those are the kind of things, the plotter that we're talking about here, Andrew's plotter runs slow, and it kind of is on its last legs. Charlie, I think maybe you can talk a little bit about this for us, but the fact that got it off the state contract, we're going to look to do that again. But it's time, and particularly since we're promoting our GIS services out to our communities, having something that is functioning and that works well is something that's needed. Again, the ArcGIS is a software, and the Esri are things that are necessary to be functioning in terms of the GIS department. Charlie, did you want to say anything about, I don't want to say most, but a number of the larger items, are because of, pavement software and things that are needed, that eventually that either gets indirect cost to like Mass DOT contract, but maybe if you wanted just to weigh in a little bit about that.
Sure, thanks, Mary. So going back to the plotter, for example, the plotter we have now for the large print, it can do 4 feet wide by indefinite length, and we bought it back in 2005, and the cost was about $15,000. It was a vendor on the statewide contract, so it was a cost saving at the time. So Andrew has done some research for a current model or an equivalent, might be $6,000, $7,000. So there's definitely a technology price saving, and for even a couple dollars more, for about $9,000, you can get the really high-end plotter, and that's still a savings of a substantial amount of what we paid in 2005. And one of the things was to look at to see if MassDOT would pick up the tab on this, and so it would be a direct expense reimbursable through our MassDOT contract versus an admin cost. On a second item that we've been working on, pavement management software, where you go out and evaluate the roads and put the data into a software, and it gives you an evaluation of the road on a scale of 0 to 100, much like your grades at school. It also gives you a recommended repair for the road, such as a full depth reconstruction, mill and overlay. And this would be a reimbursable through our MassDOT contract. And Ray Garino and the team worked really hard evaluating multiple softwares, having them do demos. And we got a price range from anywhere from, on the low end, from one vendor of $9,700 and change to a high end of $32,000. So, and not that cost is an overriding factor. Actually, the cheapest software, the least expensive software, seemed to be the most user-friendly and more applicable to what we do. So we actually put in a request to MassDOT today for that direct cost with that $9,750 pavement management software. So, it's an exciting time, and moving to a cloud-based system, whether it's the laptops or softwares, Office 365. We really pivoted, just like it said in the annual report. It's not just words in a document, it's what we've been doing in the last year and a half. So.
And I would say,
I have no
to
strong
Mary's
feelings.
point, with the OCPC kind of growing, this proposed budget kind of mirrors that statement. Not only with equipment that's going to be used, but I mean, to also Charlie's point with software and security settings and that kind of stuff. Everything is pretty much addressed in this budget, and I would ask the council to approve it.
Do we have any questions for Doug, Mary, Charlie, or Brenda on the budget? Any particular budget line item? Okay, seeing no hands or hearing no voices, do we have, does someone want to make a motion to accept the FY22 proposed budget?
Motion to accept the budget?
Okay, Sydney made a motion. Second, was that Sandra or Jean Marie?
Probably both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's both.
All right, at the same time, in tandem. All right, so we'll give that one to Sandy. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Mary, can you do a roll call vote to accept the FY22 budget?
I most
Proposed
certainly
budget.
will. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept?
Whitman.
Accept.
Excellent, thank you. And Doug and Brenda, thank you so much for all your hard work on this. I know we went through this line by line, lots of questions, lots of meetings, and I think we all feel very comfortable with the document that we presented to the council tonight. So thank you very much. All right, so now on to public participation plan presentation from Ray. Ray, do you want to take it away?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm coming to you tonight from one of those new laptops, which is really nice, wider screen. But the Transportation Department completed the draft of the public participation plan, which is available on our website, and the MPO has endorsed it for a 45-day review. So if anybody wants to go online, you can review it. So this document is an update of our 2017 public participation plan, and it outlines our public outreach efforts, our efforts to solicit and engage public involvement in our MPO activities and in our transportation decision-making. So we want to ensure that we have a proactive, inclusive, and accessible outreach program. And we want to have meaningful opportunities for input by the public for all, especially the traditionally underrepresented and underserved populations, low income, minority, limited English proficiency, and or persons with disability. So we also incorporate the guidelines provided by MassDOT for public participation, as well as federal guidelines. And these evolve over the years. As I said, this is an update from 2017 because there's changes in technology and communication techniques, and so it is periodically updated every 5 years. So it covers a lot of our products, all of our products actually, MPO activities, the Unified Public Work Program, Transportation Improvement Program, a long-range transportation plan, any corridor studies, road safety audits, and local transportation assistance that we do. And also we partner with BAT. So BAT uses our public participation plan for their public hearing requirements, for the development of their program of projects, for Section 5307 funding, which is also in the tip. So this year's update has 3 main changes. One, we had to adapt because of remote meetings and accessibility, especially for public accessibility to our remote meetings. Second change was we established measures of effectiveness, and that actually in a separate report, we have a yearly report which covers some data on the measures of effectiveness, how effective we are in reaching the public. And the third thing we did is we established the OCPC Reflection, Opportunity, and Action Task Force, which I think was mentioned earlier. And that actually is not just for the MPO, but it's for the entire OCPC. And it's to try to have a better understanding, help the staff have a better understanding of equity as a value in the work that we do. So that, if you move that up a little bit, it shows some of the ways that we reach the public. You start on the left. Our website, of course, we're redoing our website, as Mary said earlier. We've established the OCPC newsletter. Maddie and Joanne have been doing a great job. I think in 2020, we had about 3,600 e-newsletters that went out. About 1,200, I think, were opened. We also use traditional public media like newspapers, television, radio stations, and we use the new media, social media such as Twitter and Facebook, posters, display boards, brochures. We really put that old plotter through its paces because we made a lot of poster boards and maps that we take with us. We go to public meetings and and hearings and open houses, workshops. And we also look for different organizations in the community, especially the Chamber of Commerce, and any social clubs, and any public events. We try to go to public events and have a stand. We actually went to a while ago. We went to the baseball game at with our long range plan at the Rocks, and it was actually a rain delay, and everybody was underneath us. So we actually had a lot of conversations because of the rain delay. It worked out pretty good. But that's just some of the ways that we have engaged the public. And if anybody want we have, like I said, another report, the measure of effectiveness. I don't think it's online, but I could send it to anybody that's interested in reading that also. So if anybody has any questions or comments, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ray?
It just, for Charlie, did you want to add anything? Just again, Ray's work has been incredible. It does take quite a bit of time because of working remotely, but Charlie, did you want to add anything?
No, I think, well, one of the things that Ray and company had worked on too was working in tandem with MassDOT and the MassDOT Office of Diversity and Civil Rights to send the draft plan up to them for review and comment before it even got to the MPO stage. So there was a lot of due diligence early on in the process, vetting it through internal and external channels before it even got to the MPO. So I think that was, an example of a best practice. And one of the things in recent weeks or recent months, Federal Highway has a Everyday Counts initiative, and one of their modules is virtual public engagement. And Ray was a guest speaker at one of their team meetings in recent months to talk about this plan and some of the techniques that OCPC has engaged in to do not only virtual public engagement, but as Ray mentioned, the in-person public engagement as well. So I think across the state, OCPC is held up high in the work that they do in public outreach, and is a best practice by other MPOs.
Thank you, Charlie. So MPOs, it's a metropolitan
Planning organization.
Yep, just to keep up with some of the acronyms. Sorry, there's some new members. So there is no action that's required at this point. We do request, for council members to go onto our website, go onto the link to see the full report that had been sent previous in an email. And if there are already comments, please get them to us. Charlie?
Actually, it is an action item, just like the TIP and the UPWP
okay.
in the past.
Well, thank you for correcting me. So, Madam President, if there's a motion to approve?
Sure. Do we have a motion from the floor to approve the public participation plan as presented by Ray?
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion to accept from Cindy.
Second.
Second from Jean Marie. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Mary, can you do roll call vote?
Abington. Stephen, are you still on?
Sorry about that, I was on mute.
No, that's okay. Avon. Avon, John?
Let me accept.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Thank you. Bridgewater.
Accept.
Brockton.
Accept.
Duxbury.
Accept.
Easton.
Accept.
Plimpton.
Accept.
Stoughton.
Accept.
West Bridgewater. Oh, sorry. Whitman.
Accept.
That's unanimous, Madam President.
All right. Well done, Ray. Thank you for that update.
Good job, Ray.
You're welcome. And as I said, it's online. If people want to go online and review it, if you have any comments or questions, it's in the 45-day review period. Email me or Charlie with any comments. So
Great. Thank you very much.
you're
Okay,
welcome.
Mary, the next item was a year in review, which I think we already touched
We
on
did.
that.
We did.
Okay, and then we did number 12, we presented Troy Guerin with a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes.
So we're on to the status on the retirement legislation.
So Charlie and I participated in a meeting today with the MARPA and with Senator Brady, and they are going to be moving up the, they're going to be requesting a hearing on the legislation, the corrective legislation. And we're looking forward to having some resolution to this. So I was really grateful for Charlie to be on this meeting. We're on it with MAPC, and like I said, I think to the Finance Committee, you had received a copy of the invoice we received from the Retirement Board that we filed, but we want to be able to be moving forward, so we're not so it's moving forward, and I'll keep members, and if there's needed to be any kind of action item in the future, I'll keep you posted.
Great, thank you, Mary, very much. Okay, so now on to suggestions for future meetings, meeting agendas. So I had proposed that that we consider moving from a 7 o'clock start to a 6 o'clock start, since we're going to stay with combination of remote as well as in person. So that'll be on the next agenda. We're also going to, I'd like to add consideration of taking the month of August off as a agenda item. I know that in the past, Sandra had talked about wanting, and I think Jean Marie both, some suicide prevention. So I think that's still on the
Yes.
radar.
Yes.
Does anybody else have any suggestions that they'd like to have on a future agenda?
Madam President, John Costa had brought up the conversation about communities who are in with the MBTA and the use of pesticide. We still have that as a staff item. We just have been swamped with reports, but we'll continue to be engaged in that.
Beautiful. Anything else? Okay, David Klein, you got your hand up.
I do. I believe that our area plan, which is a plan that applies for FY 22 through FY 25, has to be completed in September. And according to Patrick Hamilton, my predecessor, who you, as you guys know, is working part-time for us and has been a big help, we really should have the council's approval of what we've done on the area plan up to this point. So if we are going to take August, if the council is going to take August off, just totally fine. I think Patrick and I will have to do as much work as we can on the plan that we have thus far through July to try to get the council's at least preliminary approval at the July meeting, if that's okay.
Just keep us posted. David.
Yeah, I mean, if we can't take July or take August off, that's fine too. It was just a suggestion, and we can certainly talk about it at the July meeting. So do you think you'll be in attendance, David, at the July meeting?
Well, certainly if the area plan is on the agenda, for sure.
And Madam President, the only other thing is the executive committee has, under its bylaws, the executive committee can meet to take up business that's needed in the meantime.
Yeah, and we had talked about that, David, that if the council agrees to take the month of August off, that the executive committee could still hold a meeting if there was business that needed to be attended to.
And then,
go ahead,
right.
David.
Oh, I'm sorry, Christine. Thank you very much, both Mary and Christine, for suggesting that. And then, of course, we could always review the full area plan after the fact to the full council.
Sure.
Thank you, David.
That would be an excellent suggestion. Okay, so we've got that. Any other suggestions for a future agenda? Okay. Mary, did you have the language for the consent agenda? We had talked last week, as I mentioned earlier, about the consent agenda, but we never took a vote. That was, I should have been a little bit more organized to proceed with it. So I'd like to take a vote tonight, and I'll make a motion as soon as Mary can pull up the language. Oh, Mary, can you make it bigger? I don't have glasses strong enough for that.
I'm coming, sister.
There you go.
How's that?
Keep it coming.
How's that? Any more?
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So we're at, all right. So go down now. Because there's a motion that we need to take further
Yeah,
down.
okay. Yep.
Okay, here it is. All right. So here is the language. So I'm going to make this motion that a consent agenda may be presented by the president at the beginning of the meeting. Oh, I got to make that bigger. Oh, Mary, can you go over a little bit? Beginning of a meeting. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one member. Items not removed may be adopted by general consent without debate. Removed items may be taken up immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the council. So that's my motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second from Stephen. Okay, can we do a roll call vote, Mary?
Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater. Bridgewater? Brockton.
Accept.
Thank you, Sandra. Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
That,
and Whitman.
I'm gonna abstain, I'm not gonna vote for it, I'm gonna abstain.
Okay. All right. So just to really quickly, for anybody that hasn't worked with a consent agenda, is there will be a regular agenda and there'll be a consent agenda. Items that would be on a consent agenda would be items like the minutes, possibly the financial report, the environmental notifications, or items that we've been discussing on a regular basis that we're ready to accept. So what, at the beginning of the meeting, I would say, you know, is there anything that someone would like to have removed from the consent agenda? If you had, like John tonight, with some corrections on the minutes, John would say, I'd like to have the minutes removed from the consent agenda, or any other items that you wanted to discuss that you had questions on, or that that you needed just or some type of modification that you know, typos or whatever. So it just it has the ability to help us move along a little bit more smoothly with the numerous amounts of roll call votes we're going to have to continue to take, being that we're going to continue to operate in a virtual environment. So if it's something that we don't like, we can certainly bag it, you know, we'll try it for a couple of meetings, and then we can talk about it again. And if we don't feel comfortable continuing, we can go back to the format we have. So it's just something to consider. So thank you all for voting in favor of trying the consent agenda. Okay, so we've got no other business. Our next meeting is July 28th. So I will make a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, okay. And then we've got to go to the ROM meeting. So please hang on for just a short time more. So so we've got a motion and a second. How about just all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, all right. So I'll call the meeting of the Old Colony Planning Council ROM June 30th, 2021 meeting to order. All right.
I apologize. Everybody.
No worries. You make me think, Mary. Okay, so what we're talking about tonight is the ROM budget. So first we'll do a quick roll call, and then we'll do the ROM budget, and then we will be done.
Abington,
I'm present.
Avon,
Delegate.
Alternate present.
Bridgewater, Brockton,
Yes.
Present.
Duxbury,
Present.
Easton,
Present.
Plimpton,
Present.
Stoughton,
Present.
and Whitman.
Accept.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So Doug or Brenda, do you want to take the lead on the ROM budget?
Sure.
Brenda?
So Yes, so the ROM budget looks a little bit different. It's much less complicated than the OCPC budget. Keeping in mind that everything on the ROM budget is inclusive on the OCPC budget. But as a standalone, this pretty much is where we stand, and the FY22 projected, a few areas have been changed. The management fees, Mary, did you want to speak to that?
I do, and as we discussed in the finance meeting, the ongoing management fee that gets applied to offset my salary. I indicated to the members that I literally am spending probably more than half my time some days on the building and what's entailed, and it's not just myself, but Charlie and Brenda. So I had recommended that we up it to by 2,500, whether it helps offset Brenda's, but the management of what we're doing for the building is worthwhile, and quite frankly, this really still isn't enough, but wanted just to at least propose upping that management fee.
Okay, and the only other big change in FY22 is utilities Comcast. OCPC has been paying the Comcast bill, and it really is a utility. It really is, you know, tied into a building situation. So we feel that we should move it over to ROM as a ROM expense instead of carrying it on the OCPC expense. So the Comcast bill, that would mean that the Comcast bill from now on would be paid by ROM along with the other utilities. Everything else is pretty much the same. Not a lot of changes in there.
Great, thank you, Brenda. All right,
Welcome.
and for those who are new to the council, ROM owns the building, and OCPC rents space in the building from ROM. It's like a division of OCPC. So that's why there is a separate budget. It is somewhat confusing, but the OCPC rent is what we actually pay them, the ROM, for use of the space in the building. And then they are responsible for building maintenance, and hence the separate budget. So do we have any questions or concerns about the ROM budget? All right, does someone want to make a motion to accept the FY22 ROM budget as presented?
Motion to accept.
Okay, motion from Sydney. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, second. I heard Sandra first, so we have a motion, a second. Mary, can you do a roll call vote for acceptance of the OCPC ROM budget?
Thank you. Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Bridgewater,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Plimpton,
Accept.
Stoughton,
Accept.
and Whitman.
Accept.
All right, thank you, everyone. All right, so we don't have another ROM meeting scheduled. It'll be announced as needed. So we will adjourn our next meeting. Oh, thank you, Mary. The next OCPC meeting, once again, will be July 28th. Thank you all. We had a very full agenda. We got through it really expeditiously. So thank you all for that. A lot of hard work by delegates and staff to put together some really important documents. And we've made tremendous progress this year. So thank you all for your efforts, your hard work, your dedication to OCPC and in our communities. So thank you all. Have a wonderful and safe 4th of July, and we'll see you next month.